Hey, what's up? This is Adrenaline here. Rosen-X is not a particularly well-known brand, but recently their profile has been increasing a little bit. They've just released their second collection. The first was very much avant-garde, quite unusual silhouettes, but now they're moving more towards your standard techwear or even streetwear designs with some of this new stuff. One of the best examples of that is the Orion Anorak, which I happen to have with me right now. Based on an old ACG Anorak and looking a little bit like something you might catch Tetsuo wearing in Akira, this Anorak promises something of a techwear aesthetic or a retro techwear aesthetic, while still being very wearable and an accompaniment to streetwear. This retails at $279, which is certainly much more than you might expect to pay for an Anorak, but then again less than a lot of techwear jackets. So let's take a look at exactly what this piece is offering. Overall, the look of this jacket is very much based on its feature set, so I'm going to talk about all of those things together as one. The Anorak style of this, of course, means that rather than zipping it up as you would a jacket, you put this straight over your head. And that already changes the look of it to something that you very consciously put on and wear and zip up, and then you go outside prepared for anything into that kind of, yeah, I just chucked this on without really thinking about it. I'm a pretty cool and casual guy. And without a hood, that certainly is the case, because you can't expect to be prepared for a downpour or any sort of really difficult condition, shall we say, in something like this. So in that respect, it might seem like this jacket is less flexible or less versatile than a lot of the other things I've looked at on this channel, particularly because you can't fully unzip it. So if you do want to, let some heat out or just wear it undone, obviously not an option. But I think this falls into a very different use case to a lot of those jackets, and it has flexibility and versatility in other ways, and that's something that I'm going to talk about later in the video. Visually and functionally, the main feature is the really big kangaroo pocket alongside the asymmetrical detailing. It gives the whole thing an asymmetrical and off-kilter sort of look, which is very unusual and quite unique. It might be inspired by that retro ACG stuff, but it still feels pretty current now. And it wouldn't surprise me if these kinds of designs served as inspiration for Nike Lab ACG and those other asymmetrically styled jackets that you see quite a lot today. The big kangaroo pocket and the big horizontal pocket together pretty much give you enough storage capacity to carry whatever you want. Because they are quite sizable, you won't have that awkward problem that you find with some jackets where half the pockets don't really fit in the things that you want, so you're kind of restricted there. That horizontal pocket has an extra feature though, and I'm not just talking about being able to subtly flex the branding by kind of poking it through the zip. You can turn this inside out, and then that serves as a pocket to put the entire jacket in. So it packs up way smaller than you might imagine and makes it very, very easy to carry around with you. That means that while a lot of jackets you either have the option of wearing or keeping at home because you can't really put them anywhere, into something that even if you think you might not use it, just pack it up and stick it in a bag anyway. And it's going to look a lot cooler than a lot of the other packable products out there, that once you undo them, they have that really cheap, crinkled, nylon-y sort of appearance. But this certainly looks a lot more premium and a lot more luxury than those things. And that's something where this jacket does have versatility and utility above a lot of other things, while still looking pretty good too. The collar is also pretty interesting. Like the pockets, this has an off-center look with a zip that runs down one of the shoulders, and that allows for either a close fit around the neck or a much wider relaxed one, whilst also keeping an element of protection thanks to gusseting with this ripstop nylon, which you'll also find on the inside of this Anorak. And indeed, when you fold this the opposite way, then that ripstop nylon is something that is used as the container for the jacket. This gives it a couple of different ways of wearing it. If you choose to do it up, it's a bit of a smarter look, it's a little bit more protective, but then you can undo it and it has this more free-flowing, relaxed kind of quality. If this was any other jacket, I would say that the collar kind of looks a bit weird because it does stick out at a weird angle. It looks kind of strange, but because of the way that this is styled, because it has that boxy, oversized kind of retro look, I think that's part of its appeal, having this kind of loose, relaxed collar that kind of goes in a weird way. And if you don't want it to do that, I noticed in one of the model pics, it's kind of folded down, which makes it look a lot more flush and neater while still being undone. So you have the option of doing that too. It is safe to say that this jacket is pretty light on features because those things that I've talked about already are pretty much all you get. But if you're buying something like this for features, you're always going to have a bad time, because the main event here is the material quality and the customization options. By default, the material is quiet, it's soft, it feels really comfortable to wear, it's stretchy too, which is good, and it has a light amount of water resistance, although that's not really the focus of this. It feels really nice, and certainly much better than those cheap anoraks that you'll find that have that really kind of hard, crunchy nylon material, and in a garment that you have to put over your head, the more pliable and the more comfortable the better. The softness and the four-way stretch of this material mean that it's going to fall and drape and look a lot nicer than a lot of those cheap anoraks too, particularly when you're wearing this in a more retro, oversized fashion. And that again helps give it that chuck it on before you head out of the door kind of appeal, that really relaxed look. Even so, there are different material choices, so if you have a particular idea of the way that you want this to be made, then you can request it and it's something that they can make up for you. So if your preference or priority is towards water resistance perhaps, or something that's a little bit warmer, then that's something that can be arranged. And there's loads of different color options as well. The one that I've got here is the Tetsuo Akira color, but there's a couple of different options you've got to pick from. I've seen some Rosen-X jackets in this really nice kind of light kind of sandstone color, which I think looks really nice as well. So yeah, some choices there for sure. As I mentioned already, this anorak has a relaxed, oversized retro fit, and Rosen-X do suggest opting for that more boxy look. It is very wide and the arms are pretty long as well. But please don't forget, this has toggles on the sides and it has Velcro on the cuffs as well. So do that up nicely, cinch those little elastic cords in as well, and you'll find that the fit of this transforms massively from something that looks totally shapeless into that really nice kind of oversized bomber jacket-esque look. Very few modern techwear jackets have this kind of look. They generally go for that much more slim, tapered style. So it does make it quite unique being able to get something that looks like this, apart from something like a bomber jacket. If you don't like that style though, it can be made in a slimmer, more form-fitting version, which you might prefer. But even so, even if you're opting for that oversized look, it's still really valuable to give those measurements, because there's a fine line between something looking oversized and just looking too big for you. To me, every aspect of this jacket, from its fit, from its feature set to its materials, all work towards that concept of effortlessness, which is certainly something very different to a lot of techwear jackets, which are all about being prepared and being very meticulous. This looks as relaxed as it feels, and it just doesn't really scream techwear from the rooftops while still having that cool material performance. So where would this fit in a techwear wardrobe, or any wardrobe in fact? Well, the fact that this doesn't have a hood and the fact that by default the material's focus is on comfort over water resistance, you probably wouldn't want something like this as your main outerwear piece. Consider the water resistance of this an insurance policy rather than something to rely on. But this would be a great wardrobe accompaniment to an all-weather or a more heavy-duty jacket. So yeah, stick that one on when you need it, when you know it's going to be raining out there. But for a more casual situation, you just want something cool and easy to wear, then the Rosen-X Orion might be something that you reach for over a very stiff and protective Gore-Tex jacket. And as I mentioned earlier, it might be something that you want to reach for if you don't really want to take a jacket, but you probably should just in case. You can squash this into its little pouch and then stick it in a bag, whereas most other jackets are going to be too bulky to do that. And the ones that aren't often come with that noticeably packable look, which you might want to avoid. And this is also going to fit much better with normal clothes than a very protective and fully featured Gore-Tex techwear ninja jacket or whatever. To demonstrate that, I've chucked it on with pretty much the plainest outfit I can imagine. I've got some plain black jeans and a nice old trusty pair of Adidas Ultra Boosts. And you can see even here, I don't think it looks out of place in any way. And that's great, because it means that if you do want to wear something like this, just a very casual streetwear outfit, but you think, nah, it might rain a little bit, then just stick something like this on and you don't have to worry about redoing your whole outfit into something that's more techwear appropriate, or where the whole thing has that all conditions vibe. But aesthetically, it does still straddle that retro-futuristic line, which means that you can work this into some techwear stuff and wear alongside techwear things. And for an example of that, I've got the ACG woven pants, I've got a nice little backpack on, it's the Bag Jack Spider collab one, and some Vapor Max utilities as well. And together, that does have this quite cool, relaxed techwear look, I think. and that's also something to consider. And then Xeon, who's modeling this jacket on the website, has gone for a more tactical operator kind of style. And the reason that I'm showing off all these different ways of wearing this is, yes, as I said at the start of this video, maybe the feature set is not as flexible and versatile as many other jackets out there, but that flexibility comes in the different ways that you can wear this jacket and the number of scenarios in which you would wear this when maybe another kind of techwear jacket is not going to be as appropriate, or you're just not going to want to wear it. So it might seem like there's not that much to this anorak, and to an extent that is true, but what the Rosen-X Orion does and what it sets out to do, it accomplishes very well. Compared to other things that I've looked at before around this price point, it's almost the antithesis to that, in that they tend to maybe not worry so much about the material quality or the performance, but then go really hard on different features and pockets and tactical stuff. Whereas this, the focus is way more on getting something that fits really nicely and having a very high quality material, and not worrying so much about packing it full of loads of different things or trying to make it that like 15-in-1 function jacket that you wear every single day. And I think there's a lot of value in having a high quality material, and also something that you can customize and make sure is going to fit you well. As I mentioned in the Antwon Leve video, that's rare, but it's really important in getting something that's going to be exactly to your specifications and fit you really well. Considering that the price point is actually not too bad. $279 is not a small amount of money, and certainly compared to many other anoraks it's quite expensive, but compared to techwear jackets, it's actually not too bad, and you can certainly get things that are far more expensive than this and that don't have the option of getting this customized and fitted however you want. I think Rosen-X is exploring an excellent niche of material driven designs and a brand that offers customization options. Their offerings might be a little bit limited at the moment because they are a very young brand. If you want something that has a hood, for example, you're pretty much out of luck at this point. But if you like the ethos and you like that material focus and customization options, then they're certainly a brand to keep in mind. So those are my thoughts on the Rosen-X Orion, and I do think that going forward, I am fairly likely to just chuck this in a bag when I leave the house, because I know that I can put it on at a moment's notice and it's not going to look too out of place. But let me know what you guys think about it. Is this more retro, oversized, streetwear inspired style something that you could see yourself wearing, or are you more in that strictly techwear, very futuristic camp? Either way, let me know down there in the comments, because I'm interested to see where the opinionometer lies on this one. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Shout out to Kenneth, first one to notice the Club Penguin tab. And shout out to Sebastian, I'm really thankful you left that comment, because I did want to make sure that if I did something that was sponsored, it wasn't just some like sellout money making thing. And I've rejected loads of sponsored things in the past because I wanted to wait for something that I thought would actually make sense. So yeah, I'm really glad that that came across. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. If you want to check out some more stuff, there'll be the buttons all over the place. And make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because there's going to be more techwear stuff every week. But of course, you already know that. But just hit the button anyway. Go on.